You've probably heard of tools like OpenClaw or Hermes Agent, and you kind of know what they do, but you've no idea how powerful they can be for business owners. I'm Lucas Sinnott. I'm the CEO of Applied Leverage, which performs agentic fleet installs for enterprise companies, and I am the head of AI over at Client Ascension. And in this first video, which is part of a longer series, I'm going to show you the quickest and easiest way to get your Hermes Agent up and running today for super cheap and start getting it to actually do work for you. But first, let's dive into what it is, how it does things, and compare it to some other tools. Let's go. This is a document actually created by my agent. Johnny Silverhand is the name of my agent. I'm a big Cyberpunk 2077 fan, so it made sense to make my entire agent fleet named after different Cyberpunk characters. So the reason that something like Hermes is so powerful is that AI stops being a tab and it becomes an operator layer. Hermes is the runtime, tools, memory, skills, scheduling, messaging, delegation, MCB. It's everything that you need for an LLM to actually become a real agent and act like a coworker. Johnny, the personality, is the doctrine on top. Retrieval first, no fabrication, action biased, and mission filtered for me. Where is all this coming from? This stuff is coming from our Hermes docs, from the Johnny Soul, and from our mission. I'm going to explain what all these are momentarily. The runtime gives the agent hands. That's the way to think about it. An agent is just a LLM, so Claude or ChatGPT or whatever you're used to using, but it can now do stuff. Hermes Agent was built by Noose Research, and it has a built-in learning loop. It runs across terminal, cloud, messaging services, and it exposes a massive tool system. What that means is that your Hermes has got access to your files, to your terminal, to the web, to your browser. It's got its memory system built in, it's got a scheduling system built in, and it can delegate work to other Hermes agents or other coding tools like Claude Code and Codex. It's got a persistent memory that stores stable facts about you and your business and what you do. It automatically creates reusable skills and workflows over time, and it compounds without resetting to zero. So when you start a new chat, you're not starting from nothing. It still remembers everything about you, all the skills that got made up for what you want to do, and it just gets better as you use it. It compounds. And the coolest thing about it is that it can actually live where you work. What that means is that you can talk to your Hermes agent via Slack, Telegram, even iMessage, wherever you usually work day to day. That's where your Hermes agent is going to live. What this looks like in a visual form is your Hermes agent is the runtime of the tool router. It's got access to the terminal, to your files, its memory system, skills. It can access MCPs to interact with other services. Crons are just called schedule automations, and it's got access to the web browser. But if you just install Hermes fresh, it's just going to be an agent with no personality, no rules, nothing to it. That's where our operator layer comes into play. Every Hermes agent has got a soul.md file. This is a markdown file, a text file that dictates how your Hermes agent should act. What's interesting is I read a recent study about how LLMs actually interact with soul.md files. And what I found was that the soul.md works almost like gravity, where regardless of the rules you give it or the things you say to it in other files or in chats, it always kind of drifts back towards its soul.md rules and its soul.md description of its personality and how it's meant to act and what it's meant to do. So you can really shape how this becomes your own personal operator by giving it a very detailed and very well laid out soul.md. My soul.md, the first thing it says is, you are Lucas's embedded operator layer, a ghost in the machine with one job: keep the mission moving. Now, I also have a mission.md that dictates what Johnny's actual mission is. And that's, of course, things related to helping me with my business, etc., etc. But some of the hard rules we have in here are no fabrication. There's no fake metrics, no invented leads, no made up files, no confident nonsense. If it's not verified by user input, a tool call, or an inspected source, it gets labeled as unknown. The second rule is retrieval first. That means that before it makes any claims about files, metrics, deployments, preferences, anything like that, it has to check the relevant source of truth. That could be its memory system, or it could be our existing files and my Obsidian second brain, which I'll go over in another video. Then it's got a built-in action bias. So that means is that Johnny can draft, inspect, patch, test, research, delegate, manage tasks, and update private notes. Now, he is allowed to do all these things completely autonomously without my approval, but he must get my approval before he spends any money, takes any public action, does any irreversible deletion of files, exchanges to our production environment, or if it identifies sensitive external moves. Anything that's going to be seen kind of, outside of our current system. And then there's the loop ownership. You'll sometimes tell your agent to do something and it will say, done, and it's not. So that's where loop ownership comes into play. That means that every single piece of work that Johnny does ends as shipped, verified, or blocked with the exact blocker that's blocking that task from being completed. He can delegate stuff, turn it into an next action, or kill it intentionally. There's no confusion over who owns what or where the task is currently at in terms of its state. So I gave Johnny a pretty attainable mission. That is to earn me 20 grand by himself, just him doing things. Now this can be by performing work for me or me dictating things to him to go and do. But what I mean by that is that it is money that is generated solely by the actions taken by Johnny. The minute I have to go and do something completely manually, then that doesn't count towards the mission. But the mission.md details exactly what the goal we're striving towards is. Johnny's also helped me with my offer, has helped me build out my systems to fulfill that offer. This is all part of the applied leverage loop. Mission filter is, does this action create money or move the pipeline? Does it sharpen our business applied leverage? Does it produce receipts, demos, or delivery evidence? Or does it reduce my cognitive load or protect my focus? And then these tasks are always assigned across multiple agents, and I'll explain why I do that momentarily. But our main agent is Johnny Silverhand. He is in charge of coordination, strategy pressure, loop closure, talking to me daily, handing off tasks that I give to him. Then Alt Cunningham is in charge of research, claims, and sourcing, deep dives on the web, anything that requires a lot of information collecting and compiling into reports. Goro is kind of my content guy as well as my front-end designer guy. Goro does a lot of content and drafting and refining. He every day gives me a bunch of content ideas. He suggested I make this video, for example. He also does a lot of the design of our front end for any apps we make internally or that we use for our clients. And then T-Bug and Victor are kind of just two main coding agents. They're QA and testing and infrastructure, systems, deployment. A lot of the stuff that has to do with the business in terms of a technical level, that's what T-Bug and Victor handle. Victor also does a lot of work on fixing any errors with the Hermes system itself. So where can the agent actually read and act? What can it do? There are 8 surfaces, 1 hub. Most are open for reading and acting by default. Anything that spends money, touches production, or goes public hits a human gate first. That human gate is me. Just simply ask me, is this cool to do? So it can read and act on all files. It can inspect, write, and patch files on the machine that Hermes runs on. It's got the web and browser. It can search, extract pages, and drive a browser for research and inspection work. Memory skills and session search. It can look up durable facts, reusable procedures, and searchable past sessions. So context compounds instead of resetting. So if I mentioned something a week ago to Hermes and then a week later ask it, hey, what did we say on the 3rd of March? It can go back and look at it to see what was said in that session. MCPs, you guys probably heard of MCPs. Very simply, it is model context protocol. It's an easy way for your AI to interact with another tool or service. There are external tool integrations exposed for MCP, so it extends the runtime beyond its built-in tools. The terminal, it can run commands and manage processes. A lot of you have probably never actually looked at a terminal on your computer. If you want to see what it looks like, and you're on Mac, hit command space and type in terminal, and you'll get a black screen. You can go look at and see what it looks like. And that's where you usually type commands in order to have things happen on your computer. Now, your agent can handle all those for you. The messaging gateway. This is what I think is one of the most important parts of this, is that you can talk to your agent pretty much anywhere. Telegram, Discord, Slack, WhatsApp, Signal, iMessage, whatever. The agent lives where the conversation already is. You can keep track of that stuff. So you can have an agent in your Slack with your company that is interacting with all your other team members or the people you specifically wanted to interact with in order to complete daily tasks, create reports, move things along, whatever you need. Then there's recurring jobs to fire on a schedule, scheduled work. These can be checks, sweeps, reports, research, identification of issues in the business, technical alerts for problems with the system overall. Anything that is a scheduled job. And that usually you would say, I have to do this every day at 9 a.m. or once a week I have to go and do XYZ. That's something your Hermes agent can now do for you. Now, human gated is money, public, and production. That means money spend, public posts, production changes, and irreversible deletions. That's all stuff that I want to make sure I get to approve. So I gave you all that technical bullshit. What does it actually mean day to day? How has this changed how I work and what I do? So the most important way that Hermes has changed how I work is that my day at work can now start from just a message to my Hermes agent. Because the agent lives behind a messaging gateway, I log into Slack or I open my phone and I remember something, I send off a quick message, and immediately my Hermes agent gets to work on whatever task I just gave it. It has context over everything I've ever done. Hermes actually receives a live view of my desktop at all times so that it knows exactly what I'm working on, what I'm doing, and then it helps me define areas that can automate or improve things upon or remind me of things that maybe I need to be reminded of. This means that the context of what I'm working on is always available to my Hermes agent, and no work ever goes stale, forgotten, or I can never not find something that I need to explain to the agent. And scheduled jobs mean that the routine work that I have to do on a regular basis happens automatically. No longer does this stuff just live in my head and it's just something that I've got to do on a daily basis. My Hermes agent does it for me or reminds me to do it. And importantly, all work that is done, it doesn't just get, completed and disappear into the ether, or I'm not told it's finished. It gets named, verified, and alerted and recorded at all times. So some of you may be thinking, but Lucas, I've used Claude Code or Codex and like these are working pretty well for me. Why should I use Hermes? The good thing is you can use both. They are complementary, not competing. Claude Code can be used for coding, but obviously can also be used for automation work, personal development work, a lot of stuff that we do day to day. But what's really interesting is your Hermes agent can actually use your Claude Code. It can steer Claude Code for you. That's largely how I use Claude Code and Codex now. It's rare that I will open Claude Code or Codex and start working on a project. Instead, I'll actually tell my Hermes agent to launch a Claude Code session and start working on whatever. But the big difference here is that Hermes can be always on very easily. What I mean by that is that when you are using Claude Code, you have to be physically sitting at your computer, typing into your laptop or your keyboard and telling it what to do. If you want something to happen on a regular basis, that computer has got to stay on. It does not matter if you tell it every day at 9 a.m., I want you to give me a report, and then you turn off the computer, you're not going to get that report because the computer is not on in order to run the command. Now, there's of course different tools you can use to keep your computer on all the time, but it's not great for the computer and it's a bit of a hassle. In comparison, you can very easily run Hermes on what's called a VPS, a virtual private server. It's just like a computer in the cloud. It's like a one-click setup. I'm going to show you how to do it. So you just set up a VPS, install Hermes, then it runs at all times, all your automations, all your workflows, all your triggers, all your scheduled jobs, they all run no matter what. And you can simply talk to your agent through Slack, through Telegram, through wherever you work. Now, Johnny didn't want to piss off Claude, so made sure to say that this is not a benchmark claim. Nothing here ranks one agent above the other, and they run happily side by side. The distinction is product shape, where each one's center of gravity sits and what kind of work naturally flows to it. In practice, deep session-based work, a repo, a pipeline, a machine to automate fits into Claude Code. But persistent, everywhere-shaped work, remembered, scheduled, message-driven, fleet-routed, that fits Hermes. With a terminal, file, and tool access, Claude Code automates broad workflows well beyond writing code. It can do shell scripts, one-off automations, repo and dependency maintenance, CI and debugging loops, data and file transforms, documentation, and local operational tasks. It can, run a second brain for you. It can automate parts of your business for you. It can do all that stuff. But as I said, once your computer's off, it's gone. Hermes is the persistent operator layer. It's an always-on, runtime, gateway-connected messaging inboxes, durable memory and skill, session search, cron and scheduled work, MCP services, profile context, fleet delegation, and on top, my specific operating doctrine. So that is why Hermes works better as more of like an AI coworker versus an AI tool. So you can still use Claude Code very heavily for a lot of your deep coding work, especially if you're a developer or whatever. I imagine that you are already using Claude Code or Codex. Keep using those. They're great. They're awesome. I do too. But Hermes is the best way I have found so far in order to manage my business, to manage outreach, to manage my overall organization, to actually develop automated workflows that run without my input, and to manage my Claude Code sessions and projects for me. So that is kind of the general idea behind how this works. To give you a bit of an idea, I actually had Hermes use both Claude Code and Codex to make this whole presentation. What we're looking at right here, right now, I said to initially to have Codex drafted. Didn't super like the kind of overall vibe, but it used Codex's image generation tool, which is GPT Image 2, to make these nice little graphics here, which I thought were kind of nice. These are kind of cool little futuristic sort of images, and this gives a good job of explaining Hermes over here and kind of Claude Code or Codex over here, and I just thought it was cool. And then when it was done, I had it use Claude Code with Fable 5, which is the last day I'll be able to use Fable 5 most likely, to go in and improve the overall visual layout and style of the page, where we rewrite some of the different sections and stuff like that. And so that's how my Hermes agent, which has all the context about me and can give a really good prompt to Claude Code or Codex about exactly what I'm looking for, because my Hermes agent has worked with me daily for 6 months and remembers everything. It knows exactly what I'm looking for as part of this. It knows what I do on YouTube. It knows what I talk about. It knows my business. It knows all this stuff, and it knows itself because I'm making a video about the Hermes agent. So it gives a really good prompt to Codex or Claude Code in order to create this presentation. And then the other tools do a great job at, the visual design and stuff like that. So that's how we end up with something like this. So what is the quickest and easiest way to get started with a Hermes agent? A lot of people really overcomplicate this. There's going to be 2 things you're going to need. And I'm going to give my main suggestions on what you should do, and then I'm going to give you my personal setup, right? So personally, I use GPT 5.5 via Codex as my agent's main brain. but you don't have to. I know that Codex is quite expensive. With a $20 a month ChatGPT sub, you get a bit of usage, but not a ton. The next roll up is $100, which, might be outside some people's budget. Then I'm on the $200 one because I use the absolute hell out of it. But it's because I use it, as I said, it's an AI coworker every single day, and I'm running Codex sessions as well as having it operate my Hermes agent for me. So if that is outside of your budget, there's good news. There is a very, very good alternative, and it is OpenCode Go. OpenCode Go gives you access to some of the most popular open source and Chinese models that are around currently. Personally, I really like using DeepSeek V4 Pro as my Hermes brain. Minimax M3 is very good too, as is Kimi 2.7 and GLM 5.2. I actually use all of these across my various Hermes agent profiles, because my Hermes agent isn't just Johnny. As I showed you before, there's a whole fleet there. Each of those agent profiles is running on a different model in order to spread my usage across different ones. Some are better suited at different things. As I said, I use Goro to write content. He runs like Kimi 2.7 because Kimi writes really good copy compared to ChatGPT. But OpenCode Go is $5 for your first month, and then $10 a month after that is like some of the best value on the market right now. If you are looking to test out Hermes agent, you don't want to drop a bomb on an AI subscription that you don't already have, OpenCode Go, $5, give it a shot. You get access. I would then use DeepSeek V4 Pro, I think, as the main Hermes agent brain, or GLM 5.2. But as you can see here, you get more usage out of DeepSeek V4 Pro than you do out of GLM 5.2. But how do you actually install and set up Hermes agent? Luckily, Hostinger has made this super, super easy. They have got an actual one-click Hermes agent deploy. It's as cheap as $6.49 a month. Personally, I would go for the $8 a month one for 2 virtual CPUs, 8 gigs of RAM, and 100 gigabyte of disk space. This is like a little mini computer. It's going to run in the cloud for you. So let's set this up right now. We're going to click choose plan, and we're going to look at the period that we're using it. So you can see if I do it month to month, it's $13 or $14 a month. Whereas if you do a bunch of months up front, like say 12 months, it goes down to $9.99 a month. Let's just do 1 month for now. We'll pay the total of the 1 month period, and then it's added some things on here we don't want. Hostinger seems to have some sort of deal with this Nexos AI crowd. Maybe they're their own company, I don't know. But it wants to give you like some credits or something. You don't want that. We're going to use OpenCode Go. So we're going to get rid of the ready to use AI. We're going to look at anything else they added here. It also has this instant web scraping. It seems to be free for 1,000 credits, so it may as well set that up too. You don't need agentic mail because that is something you can actually set up for free or for very, very cheap. We don't need auto backup. We're okay. Server location, and yes, Hermes agent. So we are good to go. So let's go ahead with this. Click continue. So we're going to set up the server now. It's all paid for. Obviously, I cut that part out, but let's go to next. We're going to choose Docker application. We're going to choose Hermes agent and click select. So let's give it a username. This is the username for the Hermes dashboard login. So we're going to call it Lucas. For the password, I'm going to use the auto-generated ones here. I'll blur these out. And then we're not using Nexos and Oxylabs. I got a built-in Oxylabs API key here. So click deploy. I'm going to set up the VPS for us now. Take about 5 minutes, so we can come back to this when we're ready. Okay, so our VPS is now set up. You can see our Hermes agent is running. We've got 2 buttons here. We've got open and terminal. Now I know what the terminal is, but let's see what open brings us to. So it looks like it's not working yet. Maybe it just takes a second for it to start up. Well, let's click terminal. And that should give us a nice terminal window where we can actually see what's happening with the Hermes agent. Here we go. So we're logged in here. Now, in order to get Hermes interactive and to run with it, we're going to first add a model to it. What that means is that we need to give it access to OpenCode Go or something similar. So I'm going to use OpenCode Go because that's what I recommended earlier. So we're going to type in Hermes model. And here we go. We've got a bunch of different options of the different LLMs that we can use. Now, as I said, I use OpenAI's Codex, but if we go down and it looks like there's no more, what there actually is, if you just keep going, we'll see here that we will come across OpenCode. OpenCode is then pay as you go or Go subscription. So we're going to hit enter. We're going to hit enter again on OpenCode Go. So it's going to ask for our API key. I'm going to grab that and then I will continue here. Okay, API key is pasted in. Base URL. Now, a lot of people get confused here. They think they should type something. You don't have to type anything. It's got the default base URL there. We're just going to hit enter. And then we're going to choose our model. And as I said, I really like DeepSeek V4 Pro. So we're going to choose DeepSeek V4 Pro. So there we go. So we're all done. So now let's type Hermes, just Hermes. That's it. And here you go. We're going to say, hey, who are you? And this is going to be the first time you actually talk to your Hermes agent. Then I'm going to show you how we get this connected up to other apps. There you go. I'm Hermes Agent, an AI system built by News Research. So it explains what he does, what can help you with, all sort of stuff. You can see he's got a bunch of tools, a bunch of skills built in already, and we are good to go. Now, another important command you're going to need to know is how to get out of this screen. So to do that, on your keyboard, you're going to press control, whether in your macro windows, doesn't matter. It's not command, it's control and C, and that'll bring you out here. So first, let's look at one of the other important commands. That's Hermes update. Okay, Hermes update should update it, but actually, because this is running as a Docker image, we can actually update it via the panel that we have in Hostinger, the one back here. We just have to pull a fresh image, so we're good to go. We're actually all good here, so it should be up to date, but we can just click update if we want to, and it will now run the update and make sure that everything is up to date with the recent Hermes release. The reason I say this is because the guys over at News Research have been pumping out updates to Hermes. It's like daily. I'll log in and just see I'm 200 commits behind, and it's got a bunch of new stuff added. So make sure you're doing regular updates. You can actually even tell your Hermes to update itself on a schedule as well, and it will do that too. There we go. Looks like we're good to go. So we'll just open the terminal again. Close this one. Okay, cool. So now you want to get this set up and connected to, let's say, Slack, right? So we have to actually create the Hermes Gateway service. And to do that, we're just going to type Hermes Gateway Setup. And this is how we're going to connect this to Slack, Telegram, wherever you want to chat to it. I'm going to show you how to set up in Slack, because I think that's one of the most important ones, probably for most of us that are doing work that are in Slack on a daily basis. So you can see here, we've got a list though. We've got something called Mattermost, Signal, Blue Bubbles, Discord, email, Google Chat, Raft, Slack, SMS, Microsoft Teams, Telegram, WhatsApp, literally anything you want. Now, I will say, Telegram is the quickest way. Telegram is super easy. In Telegram, I go into the Telegram app, going to Botfather, new bot, get the bot token, paste it into Hermes, boom, you're basically done. But I think Slack is going to be more important. So we're going to press space on that instead of enter when we select Slack, and it's going to ask for my Slack bot token. Now you can see here, it wrote a Slack manifest here for us to opt/data/manifest.json. You can see it says paste it into api.slack.com/apps, your app features app manifest, edit and save. Slack will prompt to reinstall if scopes or /commands changed. Rerun Hermes Slack commands right anytime to refresh after Hermes adds new commands. So how do we get this? This is a file here. You have no idea how you're meant to access this, right? So here is the simple way. We're going to copy this, right? This opt/data/Slack, Command C. And I'm actually going to close out of the gateway here by doing Control C. So I'm out of it now, right? So in order to copy that file the easiest way possible, we're just going to type cat, and then we're going to paste the location of that file, which was opt/data/slack-manifest.json. Remember, we got that in the previous setup section. So we're going to hit that, and here's the whole file. If you scroll up now, you can see this is everything that's in it, and we're just going to copy it. We're just going to select it, go down. I'm going to go right here, Command C. Now we're going to go to api.slack.com/apps. And here we're going to click create new app. See, these are all my different agents I got here. And we're going to say create an app from a manifest. And I'm going to choose my own company's workspace. And it's a JSON, so we're just going to Command A and Command V. And there we go. There's all the different bot scopes, the features, the settings. We can edit all these later, but we're going to create this for now. Just going to name it Hermes. Now, there's some things we're going to need to do in a moment, but for now, we're going to go back to our terminal. We're going to go back to Hermes Gateway Setup. Going to go up, press space on Slack. It's going to ask for our bot token. Let's go back to here, and we're going to install the app to our workspace in order to get our bot token. Click install. And there's our bot token. We're going to copy that, go back here, paste, enter. So now we need our app token. So to get this, we're going to go back here. We're going to go back to basic information. We're going to go to app level tokens. We're going to click generate tokens and scopes. And we're going to name it Hermes. We're going to add all the scopes that are here. Just 3 of them. And we're going to click generate. And now we have our app token. Copy, back here, paste, enter. Now, these are allowed user IDs. So the way that you interact with this is that, say you get a bunch of people in Slack, maybe you don't want everyone messaging it. So if you go to your Slack and you go to your own user profile, you can click the 3 dots here and click copy member ID. And then we can go back here and just paste this in, hit enter, and there we go. Now we can put a home channel ID if you want to. So let's say I want the home channel just to be all applied leverage. We'll go up here, we'll click the name, and there's our channel ID, copy the channel ID, paste, and enter. And we are done. So now I'm going to show you how we can actually have Hermes set things up for us. So we now have the gateway authorized, but it's not running yet. So let's type Hermes. I'm going to get Hermes to do it for us. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hit slash. I'm going to type in YOLO because I want my Hermes to do everything that asks me for approval. So I'm going to say we have installed and set up the gateway, but it is not running. Get it running as a persistent service. You have full permission. And now our agent is going to begin setting this up. You see it's thinking, it's preparing its skill views, its terminal, it's looking at its Hermes agent skill, it's checking the Hermes gateway status, it's looking at the help section of the gateway in order to learn more about it, and it's going to run this for us. You see we're in a Docker container, there's no systemd. I'll run the gateway as a background process. The container runtime handles persistence via restart policy. The gateway itself needs to be up. Gateway process launched. Now it looks like it's not running, so it's likely error. You see a permission error. It's going to check the config and fix the permissions. So it wants us to enter our password below. I'm going to do that now, and this will be hidden here, but I'm going to cut this out just to be safe. So to set your root password, you want to go to main settings, and put it in here and click update password. And now it's updating the password. There we go. So now we can put that root password into my Hermes agent. I'm going to do that. We'll come back now in a moment. Okay, so it's running and the gateway is running and connected to applied leverage. So let me now open Slack and we can see our Hermes here. So let's just try sending a message. Hey. And we should get a response back here. There we go. Like, hey, Luke's how can I help you today? Now, as I mentioned before, you can update the agent soul.md. I'm going to be giving away a soul.md in the comments below. Just click the link below and I'll give you a copy of a template you can use. You can modify yourself that you can paste to your Hermes agent and say, set this up as your soul.md, and it will do so. But let's take a look at how we can make this know a bit more about me, right? So I'm just going to say, go to my website. This is my website. Learn about me. I'll give my second name too, actually, so I can do some research maybe. And see what else you can find out about me online. So now it's going to do a bunch of research, and this is going to be the base of how we get our agents to learn about us and know about us and to really act as our personal assistant and, you know, our AI COO, whatever you want to do with it. So it's using the web extract to get all the information. See, I tried to use Chrome because we're running this in a Docker container. It does not have Chrome. Now I can send this message also in Slack, but we're just doing it here in the terminal for now because this is where we were already talking to the agent. Awesome. So I found out everything about me. It ran for a few minutes there and came back with, I'm Lucas Sinnott from Kildare in Ireland. I'm metal vocalist to journalist, seven-figure co-founder, studied at Dublin Business School. I run Applied Leverage, Client Ascension. I run 8 agents on a single Linux box. Developed my own memory plugin called Ngram. Substack, YouTube, LinkedIn, Spotify podcast, OpenClaw, X and Twitter. So it literally got everything about me, and as you can see, it's automatically saved this to its memory. Saved anything else you want me to dig into or any tasks you need done on this box. So there you go. That is how you get a Hermes agent set up. And now just a quick example, I'm going to go back to Slack. I'm going to type @Hermes/new, which will start a new session. Fresh session started. What do you know about me, Lucas? We can see how this is the same Hermes agent across the different messaging gateways. There you go. So it's got all the same information. All from our last session. There we go. So it's saved it to memory, and now we're good to go. So that's it. That's how you can set up your Hermes agent super easily. You've now got an always-on AI assistant you can talk to in any platform you want to do your work for you, to train on how you do things. You get Hermes to do something once, it will save it as a skill. It can do it again and again and again and again. So you just have to talk it through the process, give it the tools it needs. And in the next videos, I'm going to be showing you some more ideas on how my setup is handled, how you can connect it to other services, how you can train it to be even better, and make sure to get that soul.md in the link below. See you guys in the next one. Peace.